The myth is time boxes are shortened in proportion to the sprint length. If the sprint planning for a 4-week sprint can take 8 hours, it can take a maximum of 2 hours for a 1-week sprint. The truth is, this rule is completely fictitious. Before we start, please have a look at my website. There you'll find courses on Scrum and Kanban and lots of useful materials to download. Let's look at the myth first. The time boxes for a 4-week sprint are as follows. Sprint planning 8 hours, sprint review 4 hours, sprint retrospective 3 hours. Some people use it as a multiplier based on the 1-week sprint. The events then last for each sprint week. Sprint planning 2 hours, sprint review 1 hour, sprint retrospective 45 minutes. You can then simply multiply the durations by the sprint duration in weeks to get the maximum time box for the event. Let's do an example. The sprint review lasts 1 hour per sprint week. If you work in 3-week sprints, the maximum duration of the review would be 3 hours. Or another example, the sprint retrospective lasts 45 minutes per sprint week. If you work in 2-week sprints, the maximum duration of the retrospective would be 1.5 hours. That sounds completely logical, but it's just plain wrong. Let's take a look at the Scrum Guide. There you'll find the same sentence for every event. Here's an example based on the sprint planning. Sprint planning is time boxed to a maximum of 8 hours for a 1-month sprint. For shorter sprints, the event is usually shorter. The phrase "for shorter sprints, the event is usually shorter" can be found in the description of all Scrum events, except for the daily Scrum, of course. So why doesn't the Scrum Guide use the multipliers described earlier? Quite simply. Greeting the participants, introduction, summary, conclusion, but also the dynamics of the conversation itself cannot be scaled at will. Yes, in the 2-week sprints, the events should of course be shorter compared to a 4-week sprint, but that does not mean that they have to be exactly 50% shorter.